Hey everyone, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. And today we are going to be discussing the disappearance of Drake Kramer, who disappeared back on January 31st of 2015. Drake was only 21 years old at the time of his disappearance, and he was last seen on the south rim of the Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona on February 1st. He left his vehicle, a white 2007 Mazda 323, in the parking lot, and that was pretty much the last time he was ever seen. He's about 5'7", 140 pounds, very nice guy, very well-rounded guy. This is the location about where he was last seen. And the South Rim Trail of Arizona is a beautiful area. It's a very popular area during all seasons, whether it's winter, spring, fall, because it just offers gorgeous landscapes, beautiful panoramic views. And for someone like Drake, who loved geology, this is like a dream come true because it offers lots of awesome specimens of contact metamorphism and all kinds of geological things. But as you can see, it's a huge, massive area. Just the South Rim alone is just gigantic. So when it came time for the search, of course, it was very challenging, and also due to the terrain of how vast and versatile it is. Drake was just a very, very well-rounded young man. He was not only working at Lowe's, but he had been studying, and it was in college for years. He had started off at the community college, which we'll talk about a little bit more, but he was last seen at the Bright Angel Lodge, which is a very popular lodge. This is it right here on the south rim of the Grand Canyon National Park. He had left his home in Texas suddenly and sent his text to his loved ones saying that he had driven first to California, then to the Grand Canyon, and he had visited this park several times before. His last text said that he had loved everybody, but he needed to get back to Mother Earth and set his soul free. Now, when he studied at the Vista Northwest College to get his associate's degree, and I looked at this college, it looks beautiful. Northwest Vista College. It's one of the most beautiful community colleges I've ever seen. And when he graduated there with his associates, he moved over to the University of Texas at San Antonio, where he also enrolled in to study geology. And I think this is just great because geology is just not only an awesome field, but for someone like Drake, who loved the outdoors and loved to go to these kinds of parks, it was a perfect fit because, as you'll see in the video, some of the scenery and rock formations in Grand Canyon is unlike anywhere else you'll see, and it's a great place for geologists to study all kinds of dating and things like that. So it really is totally understandable why he loved to go there. He was also holding down a job at Lowe's, and according to his parents, he was a very hard worker. He was frugal. He was always on the honor roll. He was a seasoned outdoorsman. So it really was surprising to everyone when he was reported missing, which was very early on. It was only a day after he was last seen. And of course, the search started. It encompassed almost 300 square miles, which is crazy because this area is so vast. And the searchers sort of described it as literally looking for a needle in a haystack, because if you look at it from an aerial view where you see like one person, it's almost impossible to see them, even with binoculars. So it really is a very challenging thing in this type of all the colors sort of blend together no matter what you're wearing, unless you have some sort of reflective device. Drake was known to wear dark colors, sometimes a bandana or a hat backwards, and just a very, very nice guy. He was always trying to get out in nature. So his last text to his family, I know I'll just mention this, some people say that it leads to say that he was suicidal, but I don't really see it that way, because a lot of times when I'm going out in nature, I'll say things like that myself, and I kind of want to believe that he was just saying like, hey, look, I need to get away for a few days, I need to get back to nature and find myself. I don't see it really as a suicidal gesture. That's just my personal opinion, and please keep the comments respectful if you do tend to leave them. So anyway, at the time of his disappearance, As I said, he was only 21 years old, and he had visited these parks several times before, but it did strike his parents as odd that this trip was sort of out of the blue and unexpected. So they were a little bit concerned, and after receiving those texts and not hearing from him, that's when they contacted the authorities. And of course, like I said, the search was launched, and it went on for several weeks, but unfortunately, having found no evidence of anything, they did have to scale down the search. For more than 6 days, park rangers searched the South Rim developed area stretching from Hermit's Rest on the west side to Grand View on the east side. Teams of searchers walked miles along the canyon rim, searched heavily forested areas, utilized dog teams, performed several over-the-rim technical searches, and conducted multiple area reconnaissance missions to support the ground searchers. Posters with Kramer's pictures and descriptions were all over the South Rim locations, and apparently some are still there. The National Park Silent Witness line is 928-638-7840. If anybody has any information, please call. Drake is about 5'7". He's got dark hair, blue eyes, and roughly about 140 pounds. And it's also worth noting that one of the last things that he wrote to his mother, and this is why I just don't think that there's any substance to the suicide theory, but he wrote, "I truly love and cherish every soul I met and will meet in my lifetime. Love, Drake Lyons Kramer." It just doesn't seem like somebody that's suicidal. To me, I feel like this whole thing was that he just wanted to be alone for a few days, be out in nature, revive himself, and something happened. Who knows what that was? But now, just to recap a little bit, Drake was from San Antonio, Texas. He was studying geology at the University of Texas at San Antonio. He was last seen by his father on January 29th, 2015, where they went to see the movie American Sniper. Drake had sent his parents a text message that he was planning a trip to the South Rim in the Grand Canyon National Park, and that he had also driven to California first. Records do show that he checked into the Bright Angel Lodge that night, and he had also talked about, like we discussed, getting back to nature and setting his soul free. When he had never got back with his family, they became concerned and reported him missing the following day. He is about 140 pounds, blue eyes, about 5'7", and hair length mid-brown to dark. And if you believe you have any information or would like to speak to somebody regarding this case, call 928-814-3652 or the Silent Witness line at 928-638-7840. There were many locations in the Grand Canyon that were reported to be his favorite spots, and those spots were heavily searched, but such a great location for anybody interested in geology or being an outdoorsman. So he had visited 3 or 4 times in the past, but it's hard to say where he was going or where he was at the exact time of his disappearance. But being a student of geology, this would be the perfect place for him to check all out the wonderful views and all the rock formations. But it is thought that he was somewhere along the south rim of Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona, which again is a huge area. But anyway, Drake was just such an amazing guy. He was a hard worker, he was a smart guy, he was always on the honor roll. Great guy to all his friends and family, and everyone just really misses him and just wants to find some kind of closure or to find him and know that he's okay. So my thoughts and prayers go out to the friends and family of Drake Kramer. I really hope you find closure soon. Thank you so much for watching.